Howdy, neighbor. Our Virginia Tech Hokies do not have to travel too far. We're going to the neighbors up north, the University of Maryland. The Terps currently sit at 1-1 in a power conference non-con road game, so that should be a big test for us to see where we're at. Coming off our first win of the season in the last episode, dominating Marshall 49-13 in the home opener. The game was a little bit ugly at times, though. We do still have a lot to clean up. Through the first quarter and a half of the game, our offense did not look good whatsoever, but we scored 3 touchdowns within the final 3 minutes of the first half, and then we forced a turnover on the first play of the third quarter, ultimately routing Marshall at the end. We still have a lot to improve upon, but there was also a lot to like. Redshirt freshman Ace Morgan had a really strong performance, 16 of 20, 190 yards and 3 touchdowns, and we even got to see the true freshman Cam Kingsbury. The stars of the offense looked like stars. Chris Mickens, 12 for 169 and 3. Nazir Ishmael, 7 for 131 and 2. We need more contributions from everybody else on offense, but the 2 stars have been amazing this year. Defensively, started a little sloppy, but overall played a good game with 4 sacks, an interception by Colby Cook, and another really good showing from the secondary. We've already lost on the road this year, that being to the reigning national champion Texas Tech Red Raiders. Maryland's certainly not on the level that Texas Tech is, but they are a very formidable opponent themselves. Both of us kind of on the edge of the top 25 with a win. Either one of these 2 teams would certainly make a good argument to be ranked, especially us. A road power conference victory this early into the season would certainly do us a lot. Not to mention we're currently in 3rd in terms of teams getting votes outside the top 25, so you would think with a win, we probably would be in the back end of the rankings. Let's take a look at this Maryland team who comes into this matchup 1-1. They were upset in week 0 against Akron. The Zips are no slouch. Granted, they're not as good as they were last year with quarterback Denny Love now at Alabama. But they had a nice win in week 1, a bye week last week, and they have a pretty easy schedule through the first half of the year. If they win today, they could easily start 6-1, eventually going into a tough stretch of Big Ten games with Penn State, Oregon, and USC all in consecutive weeks. The Terps are one of the youngest teams in the country. Their highest rated player is a 92 overall freshman. They have a true sophomore at quarterback with Dylan Chester, who has some limitations. He is a little bit undersized, but he's very consistent on a play-by-play basis. He doesn't really turn the ball over, only 8 career interceptions, and he's only been sacked 12 times in 15 games. So he does not create negative plays, and he's wise beyond his years. Maryland is a true freshman at running back, Dontel Jett, who they're very excited about, 94 speed, a super dynamic player. And at wide receiver, they've got Tyson Bicharski, who's a 93 overall freshman, 6'6", 94 speed, former 5-star recruit, who they got out of the transfer portal from Ohio State. I'm surprised the Buckeyes were not able to keep him. Miller Hamby, I think, is going to get some NFL looks as a potential slot guy, and they've got a trio of really talented sophomores below them. Their front 7 is also really good. Arion Blackstone, I think, is going to be a top 100 pick. Abdullah Fumuganali, I think, will be playing on Sundays in the future. Really athletic, good size. He's only a junior. Howie Turpin, they got out of the portal from James Madison, and he had 13 sacks last year. Marquez Braum, I think, could be a top 100 pick. Donovan Warmack, off the edge, I think could be a top 100 pick. They've got a dominant group of players up towards the front. Our offensive line is going to have to look a lot better than they did in week 1 against Texas Tech. Probably the best front 7 we'll see this year because it was rough, especially in the middle. We didn't allow any sacks last week, and the run blocking was great, but Marshall has probably the worst front we're going to see this year. This is a big game for us because our schedule's really tough with Miami and Clemson over the next couple of weeks. If we lose today and fall under 500, we could easily fall behind, given that we have 2 playoff caliber teams coming up over the next couple of games, and the second half of the schedule is not much easier with teams like North Carolina, SMU, who might be the overall favorites to win the national title, and many other good teams still left. So this is a really important game for us, that we continue the win streak, that we continue to build off of a strong performance against Marshall last week. It's going to be a challenge, though, on the road against a Maryland team who's a little bit younger than us, but I think they also have a little bit more raw talent than us. They've got a great group of receivers, a super talented true freshman running back, a pretty good quarterback, and a very good front 7 with 4 or 5 guys who are going to be high-level contributors in the NFL. Career start number 3 for Ace Morgan as he's under pressure and is sacked. Geronimo Rodriguez, we should know that name. The former Virginia Tech Hokie, who had 7.5 sacks for his last year, brings him down. This front seven is so good, Rodriguez isn't even one of the notable names. He would have easily been our best defensive lineman had he not left, as Nazir Ishmael catches it shy of the yards to gain. Maryland is actually going to challenge whether or not he was in bounds. That's a really stupid decision. He very clearly had at least 2, maybe 3 steps in bounds. So the Terps lose a timeout, but they still get the stop, and will get it for their first drive of the game. Dylan Chester will look short. He's got Miller Hamby, the senior receiver, with a juke move. Breaks a tackle from Cook, and is pushed out of bounds by Justice Watkins, but not before getting the first down. Really nice play after the catch. Maryland moving it pretty well so far as Chester goes play action. Under pressure. Finds space, and he looks to run. Dylan Chester past the 35. A gain of 22 yards. Chester, one of the better rushing quarterbacks in the country, and Maryland's offense looks really good here in the early going. Chester looks to throw it, looking for the sideline. It's picked off! Elihu Gold with the interception. He keeps his feet in, and there he goes! Down the field! 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Slows down late as Bacharski tracks him down at the 6. A game-changing takeaway by Elihu Gold, who has been arguably the best player on the team so far this year. Other than maybe Nazir Ishmael, I don't think anybody is playing better football so far than Elihu Gold. He's made plays in the run game. He's been phenomenal in coverage. And here he is, not just with an interception, but he keeps the toesies in bounds and takes it a long way. A 74-yard return, giving us the ball at the 6-yard line. First and goal, Virgo in at running back as it's a read option. Morgan, with plenty of space, walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Virginia Tech taking advantage of the turnover, striking first with a 7-0 lead. Huge interception by Gold leads to a quick one-play scoring drive. Morgan using his legs. 7-0 lead for the Hokies. Maryland back with it for drive number 2. Chester has a wide-open receiver. Way too easy. That's a first down for the Terps. It's Teron Stingley, the redshirt sophomore, with a gain of 22. Chester keeps it on the option on third down. Gets the first down, breaks a tackle inside the 10, and he's eventually tracked down by a couple of Virginia Tech defensive players. Chester looking really impressive as a rusher so far. First and goal, Jet loses yardage. Omani Hicken, the young sophomore linebacker, makes the play. Royland Mathis is hurt, coming off a 2-sack game a week ago. Certainly not a guy we can afford to be without. Taking over the role for Geronimo Rodriguez as the top defensive tackle. Play action up the middle. It's caught. Eric Sims, the tight end, with an easy touchdown, and Maryland ties it at 7. Outside of the interception, the defense does not look very good. We're not sending much pressure, which has been kind of a talking point this year. We did have 4 sacks last week, but we haven't gotten much production off the edge. That has continued to be the case today. And other than the interception, Dylan Chester has looked unstoppable. 3rd and 3, broken up. Trevor Adams cannot hang on. Even though the game is tied at 7 here at the end of the first quarter, I really don't think we've played a very good game. Other than the interception by Gold and the touchdown by Morgan, the offense has had a lot of trouble generating anything. Maryland's front 7 has dominated in the trenches. We only have 34 yards of offense. They have 157. Other than the pick, Dylan Chester has been lighting our defense apart. He already has close to 50 rushing yards on the ground, and Maryland's got another pretty good drive going here early in the second quarter as we look at a 3rd down and 5 at the opposing 36-yard line. Chester with trips to the left, under a little pressure finally as he looks down the field for Hamby, and it's broken away. Elihu Gold gets a hand on it, and Maryland decides to punt it away rather than go for it or kick a 53-yard field goal. So Virginia Tech has it at the 20. Play action for Mickens, who's been quiet so far. Tevison Jackson, the tight end, loses 3. Kona Bua brings him down. Another one of the more unsung heroes of this defense. 3rd down, Morgan under a ton of pressure has to throw out of the sack. What a horrible rep by pretty much everybody on the offensive line. Our blocking has been abysmal today. Maryland has it back, again with good field position. Jet gets it and is swarmed. In the backfield, another 3rd down stop. It's Corbin Roll this time. Now the defense is starting to wake up, but we need more from the offense. Morgan on 3rd down, dropped by Adams. Not an easy catch, but he's had a couple that have gone out of his hands, and Morgan put that ball up to where only Adams can make the play. Dontel Jett breaks a tackle. Jet with space to the left side, puts on the Jets, literally and figuratively, as he's wrapped up by Colby Cook. Maryland nearing the red zone. It is a 2nd down and 1. Play action. Chester finds Teron Stingley, his 4th catch of the game, and he gets it to around the 10. Terps now in the red zone with probably their most complete drive of the game so far, looking to finish off with a touchdown. It's Bacharski! Walks it in for a score. Maryland takes the lead. Tyson Bacharski, the former 5-star recruit, with a touchdown in each of his first 3 games as a Maryland Terrapin. Ohio State's wide receiving core is loaded, but he really could have been the next great Buckeye wide receiver prospect. And I think in a year from now, we'll be looking at him as the one who got away. Tech back with it, 2nd and 5. Morgan on the run, he's got Ishmael. Breaks a tackle, and he's still up! Past the 35 with a juke move. What a play after the catch for Nazir Ishmael. He gains 37. This is, again, not the same Nazir Ishmael from last year. He is moving different. Now, we haven't been able to get him the ball a lot. The passing game has been very stagnant, and we need to find more ways to get it to him. Here's Mickens with a juke and a spin. Big block inside the 10, inside the 5. There's the big play we've been waiting for out of Chris Mickens, who's been quiet in the first half, but there he gets 30. Every week it seems like Chris Mickens is in line for a big one. Now Mickens finds the end zone for a touchdown, his 4th of the season, and Virginia Tech ties it up. That's the drive we needed on offense. Chunk plays by Ishmael and Mickens, the 2 stars of the offense who we haven't really been able to get the ball to in space. We need to find ways to utilize them. Those are the 2 guys we are running things through on offense, and when we get them the ball, good things happen. Following the 2-minute timeout, 3rd down and 5. Tie game. Chester looking down the field, and it is caught! Eric Sims breaking tackles! Sims all the way to the 15-yard line. Moss's 2 defenders, Colby Cook and Justice Watkins, get baptized by Sims. An unbelievable catch for the tight end, who gains 56 yards. Maryland looking to take the lead. Dontel Jett going backwards. Ross Daniels, the true freshman, makes the play. Jett is hurt on the field for Maryland. They are in no rush, taking their sweet time with 30 seconds left. 3rd down. Chester, end zone, picked off! Justice Watkins will look to return it. Watkins had some space. I thought he had a chance to break the hole. Another takeaway by the Hokie defense, the 2nd interception of the first half. I think as a team, we only had like 7 interceptions last year. This season, we're already at 5. Watkins comes down with it, and we are knotted up at 14 going into the break. I still feel like Maryland has outplayed us pretty significantly, but we look better in the 2nd quarter. Got to get more, though, on offense. We're only averaging around 6 yards a play. Maryland's number is a lot higher. They're averaging almost 8 yards per play. I think Dylan Chester's looked really good for the most part. 19 of 25, 214 yards to go along with 42 on the ground, but he has the 2 interceptions. Ace Morgan, meanwhile, 7 of 11, 57 yards. He has really struggled under pressure, as has been the case throughout the year. Mickens, 6 carries, 53 yards. Ishmael, 2 catches, 45 yards. Moral of the story, they've got to get the ball more. Chester under pressure, he's sacked. Nathan Grimes, the redshirt freshman linebacker, with his first career sack since the edge production's been bad and Royland Mathis at defensive tackle is dinged up. We're going to have to be creative with these blitzes, running a really good one there to start the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 10, back to the original line of scrimmage. Chester scrambles around on the run. He's got Teron Stingley for a 1st down. The pass rush has got to get there. I know Stingley was open, but he had too much time to throw the ball. 2nd and 6, high arcing catch for Bacharski. Another 1st down for Maryland. And their passing game continues to be very efficient. Minus the turnovers, our pass defense has not been good. Eric Matlock up the middle, replacing the injured Jet. Gets it past the 25-yard line for a nice run. Maryland in the red zone looking to take the lead. 2nd and 3, here's Miller Hamby. Breaks a tackle with a spin move. He brings it inside the 10-yard line. Both of these top 2 receivers, Bacharski and Hamby, continue to look the part. Matlock on the option, cuts to the outside. He is tackled just shy of the end zone. 3rd and goal at maybe the half-yard line. Chester, QB sneak, he's in. Maryland regains the lead. Dylan Chester with the touchdown, and it's 21-14. Offense has got to step up. The offensive line has not done well. Ace Morgan under pressure has really struggled. It seems like he needs a clean pocket to truly function as a passer. Cabrera in at running back. We haven't called his name much today, but Chris Mickens does have a few nagging injuries that's being worked on the sideline. As Jack Stesko, the tight end, climbs up for that one. We've got to find more ways to get Stesko the ball. Him and the other big transfer, Daniel Caffrey, at receiver. Morgan on the run, looking deep down the field for Caffrey. And it's incomplete. Maryland with the stop. Emmanuel Fraboni, the left tackle, is hurt. We've got to punt it away. The offense continues to struggle. Morgan continuing his very underwhelming game. Chester looks deep on 3rd and 10 for Bicharski, who cannot haul it in. Smoke Lewis breaks up the pass. That'll lead to a punt. Virginia Tech is going to get it back. And look at this. A quarterback change has been made. We've actually made a few changes to the offense, but Cam Kingsbury, the freshman, is now in as he goes short for Caffrey. Ace Morgan just hasn't really been doing it today, so I want to see what Kingsbury can do here in a big spot down by 7 as he's under pressure and is sacked by Donovan Warmack, untouched off the edge. Not only have we made a change at quarterback, but at left tackle and right guard as well, mainly at left tackle because Fraboni got hurt. Ishmael wide open down the field. He comes down with it, making up the yardage from the sack. If that ball was underthrown a little bit more, I think that could have been a touchdown. But still a good decision by Kingsbury and a nice catch by Ishmael, giving us a 3rd and very manageable after the big sack to start the drive. Kingsbury scrambles to the right side. He's going to look to run with it, but he's chased down from behind. Donovan Warmack again brings him down. And we've got an interesting 4th down decision to start the 4th. Trailing by 7, 4th and 5, roughly at around midfield. Is it too early to go forward, especially with a true freshman quarterback who's playing really his first actual drive of his career? The snaps last week were in garbage time. This is a real possession for him. Well, we're going to trust the kid. We're going to keep the offense out on the field. 4th down at the 45. Kingsbury goes short. It's Xavier Baker who gets the first down, but there's a flag. Baker lowers the shoulder and just barely gets it, but it's not going to matter. Kingston Carter, the new left tackle, called for a holding, and we're going to have to punt it on 4th and 15, which is unfortunate because we got that first down. The offense would have still been on the field if not for the penalty. Maryland has it back, looking to make it a 2-score lead and really take control of this game. Matlock up the middle, runs for the first down. It hasn't really mattered who's been in at running back. Maryland's run game has been really solid. 3rd and 2, Matlock again. Another first down. He's hit hard late, but he's able to make the play. RPO for Eric Sims, breaks a tackle, and Sims scores for a 2nd time this afternoon. Maryland takes a 2-score lead, 28-14, with 7 minutes to go. So now this offense is going to need a lot. Cam Kingsbury, the true freshman, hoping to lead a miracle. 3rd down and inches, Virgo in at running back as it's going to be a pitch. Xavier Baker with a big first down. I think he could have gotten a little bit more there if only he was a little faster. Asheville Virgo now to the outside, the redshirt sophomore. He's out of bounds, but not before getting the first down. So far, so good. The offense is moving it efficiently and quickly. Chris Mickens to the left side now. We haven't seen much of him in the second half, but it's good to have him back on the field as he gets a nice gain. Virgo back in it, running back on 3rd and 10. Kingsbury looks to scramble. He'll go short. It's Xavier Baker. Outruns the defender. Inside the 10, inside the 5. Not quite. Into the end zone, but a gain of 28 for the redshirt senior. Through 2.5 games of Morgan at quarterback, Baker only caught 1 pass. Today, he's caught 4 passes from Cam Kingsbury alone. RPO, Daniel Caffrey in for a touchdown. Caffrey's first score of the year, first career passing touchdown for Kingsbury, and it's a 1-score game. Now we're going to look to go for 2. We were in this situation twice in the Browns episode yesterday. Down by 8, always go for 2. We can bring the lead down to 6 with Cabrera in at running back. Kingsbury to Cabrera. He is stopped. Maryland makes the play. Nonetheless, a great drive by Kingsbury and a very quick one lasting less than 2 minutes. Still got to get a stop on defense. 3rd down, Chester under pressure, fumbles the ball, and Maryland recovers. That could have been a catastrophic turnover, but still a huge stop. A 3 and out, not wasting much time. Royland Mathis with the initial hit. Kawan Stewart was the one who forced the fumble. And now we've got the ball back with good field position and a chance to tie the game. Kingsbury wrapped up. Maryland sending pressure off the blind side. Eric McNally with the sack, and we're looking at a 3rd down and 17. Kingsbury looks to throw it. Under pressure, looking short, and it's overthrown for Virgo. I think it's too far to go for it. I feel like we have no choice but to trust the defense, so we're going to punt the ball. 3rd down and 6. Huge play for Maryland upcoming. Chester looks to throw it. Chester winds up, looking deep down the field for Miller Hamby, and it's broken away. Elihu Gold is the one with the deflection, and the offense will get one more shot. The true freshman, Cam Kingsbury, needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. Handoff to Mickens up the middle, gets a 1st down, but this one's coming back. An illegal block in the back on Xavier Baker, who's played really well since the quarterback switch, but has called for the flag, making it a 1st down and 8 for the Hokies after all that. Cabrera now in at running back. Kingsbury goes short for Daniel Caffrey. Past the 40, past the 30. I definitely think the ball is being spread out more with Kingsbury in the game. With Morgan, he was largely forcing it to Ishmael, and it worked because Ishmael's just that good. But with Kingsbury, it seems like he's trying to get everybody involved. 3rd down and 10. Huge play for Virginia Tech in 4-down territory. Screen for Cabrera with blocks. Gets the 1st down, and he gets it near the 11, as that'll bring us to the 2-minute timeout. Maryland leads by 8, but we are marching on the doorstep. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion tie it. Kingsbury, Ishmael, he's got it! Touchdown, Virginia Tech! Just because Kingsbury's getting everybody involved does not mean Nazir Ishmael won't get the football. Ishmael in for a score. I believe that is his 4th of the year. He has also scored in all 3 games. But now we've got to get the 2-point conversion. Looking to tie the game. The booth would take another look at this to see if he got the feet in bounds. All you need in college is 1, but I think he might have dragged them both. An NFL catch for Ishmael. Maybe they're trying to see if he held on to the ball. It did move a little bit at the end, but there's not enough to overturn it. So the play stands. It is a touchdown. Now we've got to get the 2. Kingsbury looks to throw it. Has space. Up the middle. He's in. Cam Kingsbury ties it at 28. The true freshman quarterback leads the comeback. But Maryland has the ball with plenty of time. 1:40 to go. Chester on 2nd and 4. Under pressure. Escapes the pocket. He's got an open man, and Matlock doesn't see the ball. It goes off of his back, and that'll make it a 3rd down and 4. Chester looks to throw it. Short pass is caught. Hamby does not get the 1st down. Virginia Tech gets the stop, and now we have a chance to win the game. Cam Kingsbury, 1:20 in all 3 timeouts. Mickens with a juke, gets the 1st down. He has 89 yards on just 10 carries. 2nd down, Kingsbury scrambles, looks to run, gets the 1st down, and slides at the 45. This would be a big field goal for the true freshman K.C. Swinier, who has not attempted a field goal yet this year. Mickens on 1st down, gets nothing, and we're going to start using our timeouts. There's number 1, still with 2 more in our back pocket. 2nd and 10. Kingsbury on the run. He will keep it. He fumbles the ball, but luckily it rolls out of bounds. The booth decided to review the fumble, and as you can see, the forearm is down with the ball. However, this is actually a bad thing that this play is being reversed, because instead of the ball rolling out of bounds to stop the clock, Kingsbury was tackled now in the field of play. So now either the clock keeps running or we're going to have to call a timeout, which will choose the latter. Had that been a fumble, the clock would have stopped. We wouldn't have had to use that 2nd timeout, but now we only have 1. 3rd and 7, it's a run. Mickens gets the 1st, and the clock stops due to an injury. We decide to catch Maryland off guard with the run, and now we are not too far away from field goal range, holding the ball at the 32. It'd be a 49-yarder from here for K.C. Swinier. Short throw, Mickens doesn't get much. And now Maryland is going to start using timeouts. That's their first. Now looking at a 3rd down and 8. I think the goal here is just to try to make this as easy of a kick as possible. Mickens up the middle, gets about 2. Maryland uses their 2nd timeout, and that'll bring out the field goal team. It's a 47-yarder for the true freshman K.C. Swinier, who has not attempted a field goal yet in his collegiate career. Last year, our kicker, Ashton Lemon, did not miss a single field goal. For the lead, it is no good! Swinier wide to the left. His first career field goal attempt is off. And now Maryland, with a timeout in 23 seconds, has a chance to win it in regulation. They had the ball with pretty good field position, starting just shy of the 30. Can the Terps win this game? Matlock up the middle with a first down, breaks a tackle, and he gets over 20. They weren't even trying to score there. They were trying to chew clock. But they gained 20 yards, used the last timeout, and now they can do some damage. Chester, it's a screen. Matlock, first down! Out of bounds! Past the 35. Still with 12 seconds left. Maryland looking to win the game now. Short throw is caught. It's a gain of around 5. They're going to hurry back to the line. 5, 4, 3, 2. Chester spikes it just in time. And that will bring out the field goal unit. Glenn Bullock for the win from around 47 yards as Coach Teamer uses his last timeout to ice the kicker. Glenn Bullock, the redshirt sophomore from San Antonio, Texas, a 47-yarder for the win. His kick is up, and it is no good. Wide to the left. And for the first time in this series, we are going to overtime. Both kickers had a chance to win the game over the last 30 seconds, but could not. Here are our overtime rules presented by Cheez-It. Both teams will start at the 25-yard line for the first 2 overtimes. After the second overtime with a touchdown, you must go for 2. And then after that, it's alternating 2-point conversions until we have a winner. We get to choose the toss as the visiting team. It lands on heads. Maryland wins it, and they will start on defense. So Cam Kingsbury and the offense will take the field, starting with the ball first. The advantage of starting on defense is that your offense knows what you have to do in the first overtime, whereas we don't. Do we need a touchdown? Do we need a field goal? Who knows? It's a reverse. Ishmael loses about 7. Maryland sniffs it out immediately. Donovan Warmack brings him down. 3rd and 17. Kingsbury up the middle. Ishmael, first down! Inside the 10. Big-time throw by the true freshman, Cam Kingsbury, as Konabua is hurt for Maryland. We've got it near the goal line, looking to punch it in the end zone and take a 7-point lead. 1st and goal. Mickens flipped on his backside. He loses a couple. A big play there by Maryland up front again. 3rd and goal. Kingsbury is sacked. Marquez Brom with the play for Maryland. And we're going to have to settle for the field goal. KC Swinger missed the big one earlier. This one from 33 for the lead. And it is good. First career field goal for the freshman, KC Swinger. Maryland can win it with a touchdown. They can tie it with a field goal. The first play of overtime for the Maryland offense at the 25. Chester looks to throw it, and he is intercepted! Nathan Grimes wins it for Virginia Tech! And the Hokies come from behind and shock the Terps on the road! 31-28, the game of the series so far, as Virginia Tech, down by 14 points with 7 minutes left to go. They come from behind and win it. Chris Mickens, Nazir Ishmael, the true freshman, Cam Kingsbury, and the redshirt freshman, Nathan Grimes, lead the charge for the Hokies to shock the Maryland Terrapins and improve to a record of 2-1. This was not a good game from us. We severely got outplayed, but this group is resilient. They are fighters, and they do not quit. Today, we were down, but we were not out. We kept pushing and pushing and pushing. We made plays when we needed to, and we're able to hold on for the come-from-behind win against Maryland. We have a lot to clean up, though. The Terps had over 130 more yards of offense. They averaged nearly 2 more yards per play. The big difference was probably the red zone play and the turnovers. We had 5 trips in the red zone, and we scored 31 points. Maryland had 5 trips in the red zone. They scored 21 points, and that doesn't even account for the last overtime drive where they were almost in the red zone. The other difference, 3 takeaways versus none. We did not turn the ball over, whereas they had the 3 interceptions. Ace Morgan had a rough game. We bring in Cam Kingsbury, and look, he wasn't perfect. He only completed 57% of his throws, but he was clutch. He made big-time plays when he had to, and we've got a very interesting quarterback dilemma now going into next week. On the ground, Mickens did not have his most consistent game, but again, very timely runs when we needed. Finished with 102 yards. Virgo with some good plays. Morgan had the rushing touchdown through the air. A very quiet 107-yard game from Ishmael. When Kingsbury was in at quarterback, the other guys were getting more involved. We saw more Daniel Caffrey. We saw a lot more Xavier Bacon. The O-line was rough. I didn't think they'd be good, and, well, they were not. Defensively, probably our worst game of the year, but again, we made plays when we needed to. We had 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, the big return by Gold, the big play in the red zone at the end of the first half by Watkins, and the game winner by Nathan Grimes, who had his first career sack and interception today. And then Casey Swinger made the big kick in overtime, but also missed the big one in regulation. Kind of a weird game for Chester. He threw the ball 47 times. Overall, he was really good, but he also had 3 interceptions, which is not good. Both of their running backs played well. Hopefully, Dontel Jett can return. That kid is a playmaker. Although Eric Matlock, in pretty much only the second half, had nearly 100 yards. Bacharski with 8 catches. Hamby with 7. We didn't let either of those guys make big plays off of us, though, but they caught a lot in the short game. Eric Sims is the guy who had the big catches. 4 grabs, 94 yards, 52 after the catch. I thought they won the game in the trenches with their offensive line as well. The run defense was bad for us. Our pass rush was not great. Maryland was better at every phase of the game. Pass offense, pass defense, run defense, arguably special teams too. But we were better in the red zone, and we forced 3 turnovers. That's the reason why we won the game. We made the timely plays when we needed to, and they did not. Maryland is a better team than us, I think. But we're an older, more experienced team, and that really showed. We got outplayed, but we still managed to find a way to win the game. We've got some fun matchups across the nation in Week 3. Texas Tech continues their early season gauntlet. They play Arizona State, Ole Miss, and Florida. That's a big test for a really young Gators team. I'm curious to see how they look. And then Clemson and Oklahoma, a couple of big-time quarterback prospects, Nick Eberle and Wyatt Cruz. So we will start off with the reigning champs. Texas Tech 2-0 so far this year. Hasn't been perfect, but they've played against 2 solid teams in Virginia Tech and TCU. I think Arizona State is a little better than both of those squads. I think the overall theme through the first 3 weeks of the year is that Texas Tech has looked a little shaky up to this point. They definitely do not appear to be invincible, but they're 3-0 with 3 ranked wins to start the year as they defeat Arizona State by a final score of 38-28 with this touchdown by Will Sara, the All-American receiver. Ezekiel Pantaleon with 2 interceptions, the young sophomore with a shaky game for Arizona State. Colin Sears was inefficient on the ground. Colin Westwood continues to not play all that well, though, although I do think he had his best game of the year so far today. Armstrong was once again productive. Sara caught the ball more, and Elvis Phantom finally played well. NC State heads to Tampa to play against the University of South Florida. This Bulls team, as we know, the most dynamic offense probably in the country, but that was not the case today. NC State walked into their trap and took over their trap. Quarterback Jalen Highsmith completed 87% of his throws while leading NC State in rushing 28-7. Yes, only 7 for USF. Awesome game for Highsmith, the redshirt junior, a first-time starter, putting his name on the map, while the USF offense, who was so good last year, looked completely off. Is this a sign of things to come, or did they just happen to play a really good defense? I kind of lean it towards being a fluke. I think USF will get it together, but this is a bad loss. That opens the door for someone like San Diego State to become the highest-ranked Group of 5 team. They have what should be a pretty easy game against UTEP, but a game that ended up going into 5 overtimes. The Miners, however, would eventually pull out the upset with this ridiculous catch, 53-51. What a win for UTEP. True freshman quarterback Schaefer Navarro with 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He also was not sacked once, though. Very impressive. But his numbers were all over the place. As for UTEP, Demetrius Dawkins with 448 yards. No shortage of offense, 104 total points. Number 9 Ole Miss heads to the Swamp to play against the number 21 ranked Florida Gators. Florida, one of the youngest teams in the country. I'm really fascinated to see how they stack up with a great Ole Miss squad. And the answer, well, they don't stack up very well. Galeo Barron, the transfer from Middle Tennessee State, connecting with Omari Simpkins, the transfer from Northern Illinois. Ole Miss wins 52-31. Mayer Stokes, the sophomore quarterback, was pretty good for Florida. Malachi Dunham, the sophomore running back, continues to be one of the best backs in the country, but their defense was rough. Galeo Barron was awesome. He certainly is putting his name into the Heisman conversation. And then this kid, Amar Simpkins Jr., whoa. I think he could be a first-round pick the way he's playing. He is a star. Oklahoma State coming off a bad loss last week against Boston College, looking to right the ship against a pretty good Louisiana Tech squad. These guys are no slouch, but they looked like it today. Oklahoma State with a dominant win. The Cowboys looking to get back on track in what should be a very competitive Big 12 this year. 45-13. Great win for Oklahoma State. Marcus Coney, 89 overall quarterback, only completed 40-some% of his throws. As for the Cowboys, Ticonderoga with a much better game than Week 1. 69% completion percentage with 2 touchdowns and 365 yards through the air. Crumpler with 2 scores and Ja'Kai Beach with 150 yards. Next up, we head to Boston College. The Eagles were the team who beat Oklahoma State in Week 1. It's going to be a little harder this time around. They've got number 1 Ohio State. I'm really curious to see how Boston College stacks up. Are they just really good? Well, if they are, they didn't show it today. The Buckeyes hold on to their top spot. A very inefficient game from redshirt freshman Malachi Foreman, but we saw the big-time throws with him. 4 touchdowns and a 34-13 win for the Buckeyes. I still think Boston College is going to be pretty good, but, I mean, you ran into a buzzsaw. What can you really do? As for Ohio State, Foreman only 16 of 38, but he had 311 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, very inconsistent, but the ceiling is very high. Aston Alexander, 2 for 116 and a score. Clemson and Oklahoma. This is the game I'm certainly most intrigued by this week. Nick Eberle, the quarterback for Clemson. Wyatt Cruz, the QB for Oklahoma. Either one of those guys could be first-round picks this year if all goes well. Neither of them have played like first-rounders yet, though. The star of the show was probably Clemson's running back, however, Damon Hershey, with this touchdown leading the Tigers to the win. I still think there's something missing with this Clemson team, but they've already beaten Florida and Oklahoma in non-conference play this year, taking this one 31-20. We get to see the Tigers in 3 weeks from now on the road. Nick Eberle was good but not great, but certainly played well enough to beat a ranked team on the road. They will gladly take that performance from him. 98 yards and a score for Hershey. Judy Esafu, the transfer from Liberty, scoring twice. As for Oklahoma, Wyatt Cruz was not very good. He is the most physically gifted quarterback in the country, but, man, he still has not figured it out yet. If he takes a leap, he could be the number 1 pick, but he's got a long ways to go. Next up, we head to the 12th man, Texas A&M, facing off against number 2 ranked Alabama. Denny Love, the quarterback transfer from Akron, has looked really good for Alabama. He hasn't played against a good team yet. Well, now on the road against Texas A&M, his time to shine, and boy does he. Although I don't think he's Alabama's best player. Amir Anthony, the wide receiver with this touchdown, one of 4 scores in this one for Anthony. He's the Heisman favorite so far. I mean, he's playing out of his mind. 50-31, 4 touchdowns, 409 yards from Denny Love. He was fantastic. They ran the ball really well. 2 scores for Suggs, while Evan Sutton had over 100 yards. And then Anthony, 10 for 236 and 4. No one has played better football, regardless of position, than Amir Anthony this year. He has looked unbelievably good. Next up, we head to Stanford. Our big rivals, Virginia, facing off against the number 19 ranked Cardinal. A big test for UVA to show if their program has taken a leap. Well, they played a pretty good game, but Salen Dotley, the Stanford running back, was ultimately able to lead the Cardinal, avoiding the upset 25-22. I'm still pretty encouraged by this Virginia team, even though they only beat an FCS opponent by 1 score last week. They almost beat Stanford, a playoff team from last year. Nathan Jackson-Lucas did not play great. Dotley was really the engine of the offense, and Dragan Brankovic played well again. He's a guy who could get some Heisman love. Freddie Fears, the redshirt freshman, threw 3 interceptions, but if he can clean up all the mistakes, Virginia could have easily won that game. As we take a look at our scores across the nation, Oregon wins the Civil War 48-17. Tennessee with a squeaker over Mississippi State. Miami puts up 65. SMU with their best game of the year. I think Tyree Wells has been a little spotty this season, but he played great against Boise State, looking like the first rounder we know he can be. Georgia with a close win over Auburn, 34-26. Memphis and Texas do their job. Nebraska now number 14. They've got a big game this week. Middle Tennessee State is now ranked. Penn State with a nice win. And then in the ACC, Duke beats Michigan State. Good win for the Blue Devils. UAB beats Wake Forest. I think UAB's good. They've got a nice quarterback. The senior Michael Johns playing well so far. Florida State takes care of business against Georgia Tech. North Carolina's 3-0. Pitt's 3-0. Cal, Louisville, they are all undefeated so far. And then some other games. Vanderbilt beats their rival Kentucky. Quarterback Timothy Fontaine playing well so far for the Commodores. Miami of Ohio over James Madison, two of the better group of 5 teams. Southern Miss barely beats Hawaii. UCLA upsets Kansas State. LSU over South Carolina with Hoppy Reynolds leading the charge. Reynolds hasn't looked that good so far this year for LSU. I've been a little disappointed with him coming off a great season last year at Georgia. I really think it would have benefited him to stay with the Bulldogs rather than transfer. As for our rankings, pretty much all of the preseason top teams have not lost. The top 11 remains untouched. There really was not a lot of movement. We haven't seen that much chaos so far, but I think that will change in the coming weeks. We've got a lot of really fun games coming up. Virginia Tech, by the way, now number 24. We do move into the rankings. We are 0-1 in this series when we're ranked, though, so hopefully that does not continue. Players of the week, Amir Anthony, no surprise, along with Toby Alexander of UTSA. And then in the ACC, no love for us yet. Graham Glukowski and Peter Cordell win it for Miami and Stanford. As for the Heisman race, the leader in the doghouse is Amir Anthony. Galeo Barron in second. Danny Love falls to third. I'm a little surprised to see Arion Igwebuike from Memphis climbing off the list, with Graham Glukowski and Bryce Carver taking his spot. So next time around, we head to the Dome. We blew out Syracuse at their place last year. The Orange are 2-0. I think they're a little better than they were a season ago. They returned their same starting quarterback. He's got an extra year of experience. This is a big game for us because we've got Miami and Clemson on the horizon next. I'd love to go into that Miami game 3-1, feeling good about ourselves, going for that big upset. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Peace out.